You do not get paid to babysit your clients and all of their stories or excuses in session. You get paid as a transformational coach, especially high touch or high level. You get paid for your courage, your willingness, your ability to sit in intimate and difficult conversation, to hold up what I call mirror moments so that a client can see and confront the difficult patterns that they keep looping around. You get paid to deliver with pristine clarity what you see. Not as advice or you should do this or ideas for them. Honestly, in the age of AI, ChatGPT can give plenty of freaking ideas. But what it can't do right now is tell pristine truth held in a presence and a relationship, a context between one human and another on behalf of their potential. So if you are still enabling and weak sauce, advising your clients or cheering them on and rah, hey, I'm all about support, but have you noticed that ChatGPT can do that just as well as you? It's almost like sycophantic in good job. I really see that you're doing this. I see that you're doing your best. That's amazing. And I love being a positive energy and voice of support on behalf of my clients. But I mean, here's the thing. Courage, truth, edginess, even loving confrontation on behalf of a client's potential and growth. That's where the real power lies. And here's the thing, not only are you then helping a client to develop the somatic capacity, the ability for them to sit with their own truth and then to take action and move that into their life for meaningful change, but you as the coach, you got to have your own nervous system pristinely calibrated. You have to build the vessel that can hold, can shift signal from noise, where you can sit with another client's story without starting to believe that same BS for yourself, you know? So I'll give you an example, a couple maybe little cameos. I had this client, they were quite a high performer. In fact, that's how they introduced themselves from the first get-go. But they were on a world-class stage and they were very well known. And yet that work had become kind of rote and basic for them, and they had an idea and they said, my favorite line ever, so I have this idea that I can't stop thinking about. And let me, I don't know if it's possible, but let me tell you about it. So they told me about it. We unpacked it, blah, blah, blah. We began working together, right? Here's the thing. They started rescheduling sessions as soon as we put our finger on the real work, the thing that they needed to change or do or start to implement. They started to hedge and avoid. And you can check out some of our other videos on the patterns underneath of that behavior. It's not personal to them, it's a pattern. It's held in our Somatic Skins Quiz. You can check it out. But they started to do that thing, reschedule sessions, kind of hedge about, not really return emails. And I have a rule in my coaching practice that says I don't do ghosts. And so I called for an immediate meeting. And I remember that conversation of sitting and saying, hey, I care about you as a person. It's not about that. But I need to tell you something, and it's going to be hard potentially for you to hear. But for, I think it was at that time, 2 months, you have described yourself as top of your game and a high performer. And yet the way that you have shown up in your own life and in our work and our sessions, you have yet to demonstrate that you are a high performer. I'm not seeing it. So we can keep dancing about, but honestly, it's unethical for you to pay me and me to enable poor behavior. What needs to change here? Because your vision matters too, yeah? And so we continued the work. It was a hot conversation. I remember the feeling in my own body of like, oof, I'm about to get fired today. And honestly, as a coach, if you don't feel that from time to time, you're probably hedging the truth. So I remember that feeling with myself. I can remember watching their eyes, their breath, their body in that conversation. I was aware of the tension between us. Thankfully, I had already trained to be able to celebrate tension as a deeper conversation between two individuals, right? So, tension to me is a great thing. It's where change occurs. And so we sat in that for a bit, and then we ended the conversation early. It wasn't a full session, and I invited them to go think on it. 24 hours, right? And so we made the agreement, absolutely no ghosting no matter what happens. They were either going to change and show up differently, or we were going to complete. And so this was real stakes, you know? Happily ever after in this case, they ended up shifting. They came back completely a different person. And, you know, the rest is history. But that just illustrates my point, because I could tell you for that one situation, 10 others as I was developing this nervous system capacity as a coach, honestly, where I also knew that I needed to have that kind of conversation with a client. And I hedged and I softened it and I watered it down, and I was afraid of hurting their feelings or being too much or even getting it wrong. And I kept watering it down, and honestly, they didn't respect me in the coaching. I didn't respect me in the coaching. Nothing was really changing until the moment where we could hold the truth. So I care about this work a lot, because life, especially on the front edge, the leading edge of your own potential, it requires an ego death, an edge of confrontation and truth, decision and action, like a cascade, again and again and again, to expand that range. And if you don't have the tools, if you don't have the infrastructure built to do that, you won't. Your system by default is calibrated towards survival. So it's just going to circle the same range of patterns again and again and again. And you'll tell yourself that things feel different or they're changing, but you know that like you're not actually seeing true transformation. But once you start building the infrastructure to be able to hold charge, to be able to handle the electricity of truth, mirror moments, action that feels edgy and alive, and honestly you want a blanket for after, once you know how to do that again and again and again, and you recognize that your identity is fluid, that you can shift from one to the next, you command all of them. Your life, your growth, it feels very, very different. And also, the work that you can then unlock with your clients is equally very, very different, potent. And I don't know, I kind of rabbit trailed there for a moment. I geek out on this stuff. I live it, I sleep it, I breathe it. I absolutely love it. If this seems up your alley, I would welcome you to experience it for yourself. Come join us for a season of The Prestige. We'd love to have you.